5, 4, 3.
That's the trick. Yeah. What's up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Bob Moss. These are my nano tanks and you're my viewer, so I hope you enjoy. If at any point you like the video, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and leave a comment. You should probably wait till you watch the video to leave a comment though. That's probably a good idea. So today's topic, we're going to be doing water changes in my Neocaridina shrimp tanks, or in one of my Neocaridina shrimp tanks, because they all kind of follow the same process. So I will explain more as I do the water change, I guess. That makes sense, right guys? I'm not gonna waste my time here. So first thing you're gonna do is wash your hands thoroughly. Actually wash your arms right up to like your elbows, because you know, you might, depending what you do, you might be going deep in there.
That's what she said.
Getting cleaning, scraping glass, doing stuff like that. And other than that, let's just get into the water change. Let's go! Alright, welcome to the tank. This is my Bloody Mary tank. This is the oldest tank on my rack. We're just going to be doing a simple water change as I stated in the intro. So we'll get it started. We got our hose here. I put pantyhose over the edge. That just prevents any baby shrimp from getting sucked into it. And we put it in here and give it a clamp so it doesn't move anywhere. These clamps are really handy. And we let it drain. Yeah. While it's draining, this is a good time for you to remove any excess floaters. If you wanted to remove your floaters, you can remove any excess moss or plants that you might have in there. My Anubias is struggling in there. Oh my god. You can also take out the filter in the back here, give it a good squeeze.
That's what she said.
From my last video, you can squeeze it under tap water, no problem. But for just the basics, we're just going to be doing the water change here, and I might not take it down that low. A little pro tip you can do is take a measuring tape and measure the edge here, however many inches, and then you can mark your percentages if you feel like it, you know, 10, 20, 30%. You may notice here I do have it pretty deep in there.
That's what she said.
What I've done these days is weekly I do about 30% water changes on my Neocaridina tanks. That just helps add in new minerals, new vitamins, micronutrients, whatever's in the water, you know, like the hardness, the GH and the KH. It helps replenish those values.
Nailed it. Because
organics like ammonia, nitrate, and nitrates actually slowly eat away at things like your KH, not your GH. It's not going to eat away at the general hardness, but it does eat away at the KH. So by doing a slightly larger water change, you just replenish that and make sure that your pH doesn't crash because your KH is lower. You can also come in and clean the glass. If it's not looking good, you know, I just use a regular scraper here unless it gets really bad, in which case I do have razor blades. If it's really bad, I do have razor blades here. Scrape the inside. All right, so while that drains, I'll just algae scrape a little bit. This helps remove, well, obviously algae growth on the front. Woo! That little thin layer that you start to get, it's not gonna remove like a lot of stuff. If you have like that hard, thick green algae, it's not going to remove that, but it will remove that like initial layer of biofilm that will eventually turn into harder algae to remove. So at least for your display panel, the front panel or side, whichever one's your display panel, it's good to just do this weekly in order to keep up with it so it doesn't just get really bad when you, like up here. Okay, obviously that does kick up some stuff, so it's gonna look a little messy for a little bit. And now in my past videos, I definitely did smaller water changes, like, and in a future video, I'm gonna be doing a smaller water change in another tank. But for my Neocaridina, not your fancy Caridina shrimp, but for your Neocaridina shrimp, you can get away with larger water changes. You just have to add the water back in slowly. I wouldn't do a huge water change and then just dump the water back in. Well, you'll see what I do here in a minute. Trust me. So we'll just let that finish up its thing and be back here in a minute, I guess.
A few moments later.
All right, so it's almost done here, and as you can see, if I just kind of eye it, we have 1, 2, 3. We're at roughly 30% of the water is removed right now, so we're safe to remove this hose. A good thing to do is just shake it in case there's any baby shrimp holding on or any plants attached to it. That way, because they will grab onto this pantyhose mesh here, and then when you go do your next water change, you'll see there's little dried up baby shrimp, and it's really sad. So we prevent that with the shake method. we're keeping things pretty simple today. So we take our Seachem Prime, and or whatever dechlorinator you want to use. Seachem Prime is just the kind of the standard, especially for us content creators. We like to use the fancy stuff. And I just squirt 1 ml. It's a 10-gallon tank, so I squirt 1 milliliter directly into the tank water, and that way I don't have to keep adding it into this stuff that you're gonna see here. So now how I add the water back in slowly, I've done this in past videos. I take my air line and I put an air valve on the end, and this is going to control the flow into the tank. I'm going to stick this into my water. So because the way my rack is set up, I use 1 gallon bottles, 4 liters, and I put it up here. And then just like this, we're gonna control the flow, and I'm gonna get it down to like more like a drip. So we're basically, I've said this in the past, well, when I add the new water back in, I'm basically drip acclimating the tank again to the new water. It gives it time to equalize the pH. The temperature should be the same because they're all just room temperature, but the pH might be different from what's in the bottle compared to what's in the tank, and things like the KH and the GH might be off too, like the TDS might be slightly different because I just use tap water. I'm not remineralizing RO water for my Neocaridina. So we add it back in slowly, and that will take quite a bit of time to add back in, but while that's doing its thing, I do a couple other things. It's not just drain and refill. That would be kind of pretty useless video, right? So what I do here, every water change, obviously I do the prime. If I have Seachem Stability, I use Seachem Stability. I also have Montmorillonite clay that's just available from my shop.
Wow.
Some bentonite clay, whatever you want to call it, and I take 1 scoop. Doesn't have to be level, you know. The clay does affect the TDS and the pH slightly, but in this much water volume, it's really not enough to do anything negative. So we just add that back in. The Montmorillonite clay is a volcanic ash with tons of micronutrients. It helps the shrimp's exoskeleton, helps their digestive health. They do actually graze on it. It's not just something that goes in the water. And then in this one, in my shrimp effects thing, shrimpeffects.ca for some cool shrimp and food. I have bee pollen that's also available at bobmoss.shop, and I just add that back in. Just a powdered food, you know, this is a good time to add Bacter AE, spirulina powder, whatever powdered food you have, I add it back in during water changes, and then it just gets the water column nice and filled with all this stuff, right? So that the shrimp have food source, they have micronutrients coming back in, they have the clean water, it's all dechlorinated. And then basically I just let this drip for hours until the tank refills, and then that's it. That's Neocaridina water changes, guys. You can, like I said, you can get away with doing a bigger percentage because Neocaridina are a little hardier than your bee shrimp, but you just have to add the water back in slowly. That's the trick. Yeah, see you in a few hours, I guess.
Later that day.
And here I'll just show you real quick what the tank looks like nearly refilled. Not that big of a deal. I'm just impatient and dripping this last bottle in. Doing this method, you'll use 2 or 3 bottles depending on how much water you actually took out of the tank. As you can probably tell, I do not gravel vacuum my tanks if the bottom of your tank is looking pretty shitty. Use a turkey baster to spot clean to prevent sucking up any shrimps. But that's that. As you can see, there's not that big of a visual change at the end of the day, but trust me, the shrimp appreciate the addition of some fresh water and new minerals.
And that's it. Water's changed in your Neocaridina shrimp tanks. Make sure to do that every week or 2 or 3. Really, it depends on your nitrate levels. If the nitrates get above 20 parts per million, that can start to hurt the shrimp, as I should have mentioned there in the thing that I was doing. As I mentioned in the intro, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new here. Leave a comment below if you made it this far. Make sure to comment cherry quite contrary, and I'll know you made it to the end of the video. Big shout out to my YouTube channel members:
Mitch Bottom, Jamie A, 3DRC, Jake FWTX, Daniel Cordone, Lucas Talbot, BJ Palmer, Tater Salad, Zodiac 246, Kendra Crippen, Roman Pitroff, Zoltan's Aquatics, Drifters Workshop, Robert Redmond, and Christy Godin.
If you would like a shout out like those guys, that link is in the description below, as well as other links like my hobby shop, my Discord fan club, my YouTube page. I have PayPal. I have something else there. Twitch stream. That's what I have. 24/7 Twitch stream. Lately, I've just been doing my betta tank that is off camera right now, but that is something. If you like Twitch, if you like chill music and fish and shrimp, check out my Twitch stream. And remember, guys, until next time, keep your shrimp hands strong. Bye bye now. Alright, so today's topic. Forgot my wedding ring. So I'm either going to keep this narration or cut it out and do a voiceover. So if you would like a shout out, that link is in the description. I may have to just voice this over again so that it makes some sense. Okay. 1 gallon bottles. No, not my site.